message you'd like to give to many of the bands like yours who were just kind of starting?
Like I said, we were lucky to have opportunities before we had anything else. So on our part, we consider ourselves really lucky, but it's a fact that we started off with a lot of originals. So it really helps to have as much of your own music behind you to guide you, and to have that as a backing to anything that you're doing. So any new bands would just be to create original music. Any advice would just be
write your own music.
Yeah.
Have faith in your own music and push for your own music. You don't have to do covers if you want to perform.
Yeah.
And moreover, take criticism and like I've seen a lot of bands that are good in parts, but there is one failing somewhere and they just take that as part of their style and they stick with that, because all the constructive feedback, and a lot of these bands start out with competitions. They have one or two originals, so they do competitions, they do one song, one cover.
Like we did, like we started off.
Yeah, we started off exactly like that.
They don't take the feedback that they're getting. Someone's telling them that this part is not sounding right, you need to focus more on something, this guy needs to focus more on that, the vocals are a little flat, try changing the key. They don't hear these things, and they hear them, but they assume that okay, this guy doesn't get my kind of music. Just take people's criticism, feedback, and use it. Using it is more important than using it.
Yeah, take it as constructive.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Also, what's advantages for us is that we're 6 people who at least have a decent sense of music, a decent ear for music. So it's going through 6 different filters before it gets on stage.
Yeah.
So every time that we do have an idea, it's going through 6 different opinions of, okay, this sounds good, okay, this sounds good, okay, this sounds good, okay, now we can play it live. So, but a lot of bands start out as like 3 pieces or 4 pieces. So it's really, and we had to do the same, that you have to take the criticisms that you get. We've had a lot of criticism since the beginning, and we'd like to think we got over some of it. We're still working on a lot of it, and we can go a whole lifetime without not having resolved a few criticisms with some people, but you just have to be happy with what you produce.
None of you started out as being the musician that you wanted to be. For example, Zubin, did you start out wanting to be a bass player?
No, I was a guitar player before starting off bass. So yeah, I started playing bass for the band.
So how was that jump, switching from a smaller scale keys to a fretboard one?
Didn't really matter much because I was pretty new to guitar itself. So I just picked up the bass and now I'm here. So.
I think he was happiest the day he discovered slapping. So you can do this! This is so fun!
So what about you, Sid? You also started out being a guitar player?
Actually, first time I ever tried playing an instrument is tried playing the drums, which failed quite horribly. And then I just started playing a lot of acoustic guitar, and I played more or less rhythm for a lot of people, and that just sort of stuck with me. And I like to think that I'm fairly, good at grasping rhythms and getting tight. So
that's coming handy, that your little tryst with drumming was coming handy in your playing life.
Yeah. I always had a ear for rhythm, but I couldn't never get my foot to do the same thing that my hand would.
Or a different thing.
Yeah, so I just like, hey, guitar, you just have to use hands. So I was okay.
So what about you, Vivan?
It's always been drums for me.
Since when?
Since what? No, 2.
Since you were 3?
Yeah. As far as I can remember.
Why do you have a drum kit when you were 3?
Because I could.
He had vessels.
So you've been playing since you were 3, just drums?
Yeah. I had my first pair of real drumsticks. I hit my brother with it and they were flung out the window. Percussions. Yes.
But I would say Vivan has a very melodic sense of music as well, because you can tell that like a lot of drummers, when they start out with only drums, it might go into the virtuoso kind of drumming, but it doesn't, I don't think it stays with that. Yeah.
No, yeah, because there's 2 sections, like the virtuoso is like mainly like focusing purely on the instrument with rudiments and all that stuff. It's just concentrated. So I grew up listening to Phil Collins, Michael Jackson and Pink Floyd, the 3 biggest influences which sort of framed what I do. So it's helped a lot.
He knows more about drum texture than he does about technicality, which I love, because this is with this wood now, and you have this wood, this part happens, and then your ear, it sounds awesome.
Compositions of
that is his criteria, not this guy's playing at 160 BPM, this guy's playing at 220.
So he just mentioned his influence, which is interesting. So now, quickly, if each one of you can recap as to what are your own individual influences which brings to the table what you guys do right now? So starting with Ankit, like what would be your influences?
Well, mine kind of, like I said, the whole playing music, whole concept of it only started really late. So I would say the last 3 years of listening music have kind of been my formative years of listening to music that I want to create live. So, and I started off, actually I would say listening to Bollywood music from like way back when. Like Kishore Kumar is like, I love listening to Kishore Kumar songs every now and then because it's just a different kind of this thing. And listening to classical music has also had its own benefits. But when I started listening to singer-songwriters, which is when the writing process started, I started listening to Glenn Hansard and Leonard Cohen and all those kinds of, like Bob Dylan and Frank Sinatra actually, a lot of Frank Sinatra. That's when, the whole singer-songwriter kind of thing started. So I would say that.
I can't pick. I've never been able to do this. I've tried a lot, but it keeps changing.
Okay, what's currently your...
I like that about it. It keeps changing. Like if you go back 3 or 4 years, it would probably be Tool or something, or Deftones or whatever. Now it's
Heavy.
a lot of random jazz that I listen to through my friends. I just love what they're doing, and the fact that I don't know. It's just crazy. It's new to me, so it excites me completely. A lot of chill out electronic music, bluesy stuff that my friends are listening to. I can go on, like it keeps changing about every year or so. It will change into something else.
Okay, for me, the most prominent influence would be blues, and this is what I've been listening to since years. All the way, my dad still listens to blues. Stevie Ray Vaughan was, I think, the first blues guitarist I ever heard, and that has stayed with me throughout. But then it went through like several phases of, like there was a little bit of metal, there was a lot of prog, there's still a lot of prog in what I listen to, and now it's gone more to like electronica, and that's where I am at.
Rohan?
A lot of influences. From when I was a kid, I was listening to A.R. Rahman and Hans Zimmer and a lot of orchestral stuff, because for a long time I was into a very film scoring kind of a thing until I started writing a few years back, and then influences like Jason Mraz and John Mayer and all that came in, and more when I started getting with the band setup, I started listening more to bands, and since then Radiohead has been a major influence. And anybody who can put together a song and really push an emotional vibe across, because if you can't push an emotional vibe across, it's just technical stuff that you're listening to. So anything that has feeling behind it at all. So I mean, a lot of Western classical, after Ankit pointed me towards some Indian classical as well, anything and everything that pushes an emotional vibe across.
So Zubin?
For me, it was always from the beginning just any kind of instrumental music, may it be guitar, metal or whatever. I just always hated lyrics, so I could never keep up with that. So
it's surprising that Zubin and I get along.
So yeah. So it was always some guitar instrumental, bass instrumental, classical piano, even just normal techno stuff like Highlight Tribe and all that.
And Buckethead.
Oh, of course, yeah, Buckethead.
God,
Yeah,
yes.
Django Reinhardt,
It's
all of that.
incredible.
Yeah. So
how do you play in this band which has so many lyrics? You shut the lyric part of it out?
I try and avoid.
I think the happiest day I had for a long time was when I read a status update from Zubin on Facebook which quoted a lyric of us.
Yeah.
Which was like, oh my god.
I think the proudest moment is when he helped us write a song.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Zubin was part of
Lyrically.
like me, Rohan and Zubin lyrically.
Yeah, coming
sat
back
down,
to the songs which have one direct meaning and actually it's completely different lyrically. It's one of the songs Zubin wrote. It's my favorite song of ours to play called Bullet Points.
Yeah, it's like a newer song.
It's one of our newest songs, yeah.
So the three of us sat down and Zubin was the one who came up with the basic idea for the song. So that I think would be like a milestone.
I think he's lying when he says he hates lyrics.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would be like I'm sure you guys have crossed various milestones from your journey from where you started off just as a duo up to this 6-piece band. So there must have been various highlights in your career up till now. So let's say name top 3 milestones or things which you think have been wow in your career up till now as a band.
In speaking from a strictly compositional point of view, like he said, I think I really thought it was really important, and I think it is a really big milestone that we've started composing a lot together. Because for a long time, when the band started, as it happens with, I think almost every band, Ankit and I kind of dictated the direction where the song would go, and we would veto a lot of things, and we would say, no, that's not happening, no, that's not, my song is not going there. But I think that has changed a lot, Teji came up with the basis for this song called Highs and Lows, like we said, and he co-wrote some of the lyrics as well. Like we said, Zubin helped us write this other song called Bullet Points. We're always, and now, we're thinking more on terms of how this song can sound, as a 6-piece, and how we can really bring every influence into it, and everyone is invested in each song and how it turns out, which I think is a huge milestone. From going from just writing a song alone at home and coming and just putting parts onto it, which I think it's a huge difference, and I think that's what makes a band more than just 6 people playing together. So I think that was a huge milestone.
Great. Another one also I think is that we were lucky enough to be signed on by a management company before we even had a name.
Yeah.
Like our first gig was at Hanging Gardens, which is part of the Revival of the Bandstand Festival. So our manager Shreya was there, and she saw us there and left a contact. And after that we were signed on as artists before we even had the Spud In The Box name.
Yeah, for a long time.
For a long time, for about 2-3 months easily.
Having that faith in just the music by listening to it once, it kind of, I think, pushed us to believe that, there might be a lot of people out there that will be willing to do the same. Like there might be a lot of people that will be willing to listen to us for the first time ever and then go and buy an album right then. Which does not happen. Sometimes we ourselves feel like a lot of our songs, you'd have to listen to them for about 10 times to get, for them to grow on you. But as a band, I think we have had that milestone since the beginning, that the chemistry is somewhere just right. That we've been able to have a first impression, and that first impression on a manager who offered, to
just hearing us for the very first time as a band together, the first time we ever played together, but just by simply hearing us for that bit,
So how did you get the name again?
Oh, we didn't tell you already?
No, I think you mentioned it.
Rewind that tape.
Okay.
No, and also I think third would probably be, I don't know, would you count Yashraj, or would you count packing Blue Frog and playing a full bill?
No, Yashraj.
I would say actually quite a few milestones in terms of
we
playing
had a couple of things in mind that we wanted to do,
and
I'm glad we managed to do them.
No, but I think being able, it would be a materialistic achievement, but getting to Yashraj, getting
being
to that
able
level,
to and then doing it. Both of them, having access
from
to it.
having visualized it that we will want to record there, to finally actually recording the EP there and being.
We went through a lot of processes.
How did that happen? How did the Yashraj thing happen?
Mr. KJ Singh.
We were dying to do live recording in the one place that can fit all of us is Yashraj.
So Teji dragged his dad one day to our rehearsal, and KJ was like head over heels, and he was like writing us love letters, and he was, like, let me produce you, please. He was like, okay,
If you insist.
Come back tomorrow.
He was interested in the band, and
in the queue.
He's getting beaten up.
It didn't have anything to do with whatever, me being part of the band and all. He honestly liked the music, because he's like, what are you guys doing in terms of recording? Are you guys coming out with something? So I said, we don't know. He said, what do you mean you don't know? You have a band and making music, what are you going to do with it? So he said, we'd love to
that's
record
like taking
it.
it the next level.
He said, take it to the next level. We're like, how? And he said, I don't mind stepping in and helping. We said, we would love that.
No, and also in terms of, when we were thinking of EP, we were just thinking, okay, even when KJ stepped on board, we were first in terms of, okay, we'll record it this home studio, we'll put something together. He was the one who pushed us to say, look, if you're releasing something, it's especially since it's the first release ever, it has to be a great first impression, and it has to be something that will leave a mark. So why compromise? If you have the resources, if you can put together the resources, even if you don't have them now, if you can work towards it, why go for anything less? And I think that's been very important, and since then we've not compromised on anything.
And plus, KJ really pushed us to think of us as a long-term investment, like to ourselves, you know. He really pushed us to think that, okay, we have a band, we've been playing music, what are you really going to do with it, and it all actually depends on that. What can you make with whatever you have right now? And that is, I mean, it set us thinking 5-10 years ahead of where we are right now, and that really, you know, pushed us to go.
And then thinking retrospectively, would we have wanted our first release to be, you know, just
home recording?
Yeah,
something
like
that
something we put out just for the heck of it. So it went through, I think there was a whole month where we were like, should we do it here, should we do it there, should we just go small scale with it, should we just do, you know, like an indie kind of small studio kind of thing, or should we really get into a studio like Yash Raj and go all out on it and put all our hard work and all our
someone was telling me this about guitar playing as well. I think it's just the same concept applied to recording. Like someone was asking one of my friends or something who plays guitar, he was saying, I want to buy a guitar, like what do I do? So he says, how serious are you about it? He says, I'm really serious, like I want to do it for sure. He says, are you sure you want to make the investment? He said, yeah, I can buy a good guitar, because what all these people do is they buy a crappy guitar, live with it for 3 years, and then eventually they move on to the guitar that they actually wanted in the first place. Instead, why not start on that, get intimate with it, and then, you know, play on that, perform with that, learn with an expensive guitar that you really like. So I think we applied the same thing to our recording. We like this recording, we like these songs, we are going to use them in the future. So why not record them at the best possible place?
So how was the Ezra experience?
Oh, it was awesome.
The most learning-filled thing I've ever.
Yeah, I mean,
in what way? I mean, expand.
In terms of what we need to prepare to get in the. We thought we were. I mean, we didn't think we were like over prepared, but we thought we were pretty prepared because we worked hard, we practiced, we got things tight. We went into the studio and we recorded, and we thought everything sounded great, awesome. And we got out.
Was it tough? Because it might have been one of your first
It was unusual.
Extremely challenging, even to the way you play your instrument. First of all, getting used to playing to a click
track.
A click is key. And for drums specifically, consistency. I had no idea. Like I play the snare like one hit. So then Shantanu would say, "Okay, just play the snare." I hit that. Hold on. He'd get out, come right into the engine, to the room, pick up, say, "That's how you hit a snare drum. I want to hear that. I want to hear that each and every time." Okay.
No, in terms of a lot of things, in terms of tones, in terms of delivery more than anything, I think, I mean, we had that in mind. We thought, you know, I'm going to sing this line this way and this line this way, and in terms of even delivery of instruments of how we play. But I mean, you only really understand what you need to do in terms
when you're there.
No, and when you hear it back.
Yeah.
When I listen to the EP or when I listen to whatever, I know what I could have done differently. I know what I did right and I know what I did wrong and what I had to do to prepare and what I'll need to do next time for the album or for whatever to go in and what it's going to take. You know, so delivery in terms of even getting the emotion across, getting the chemistry across of 6 people live, because we were recording live. Yeah. So that's the whole idea of recording live. If that chemistry doesn't show, then there's no point. You might as well multi-track.
And there was a lot of difference in like how we play live and how we had to record live, because it doesn't translate, you know, seamlessly. Because when you're in your booth, you're wearing your headphones and it's not sounding right somewhere, and you know it, and you know that this doesn't happen live. Why is it happening here? We don't know anything. Oh my god! And nobody can hear you out of that booth because you're in a soundproof booth. So you can cry on your own, but you really learn a lot of things on the fly. But you know, because you're there and you have to adapt to it and you have to make it work. So even if your levels aren't right, you have to be vocal about it.
Yeah.
Like in a live show, it might just be, you know, that we're only listening for cues maybe. So, you know, like Vivan might only need vocals to go for his cue. But when you're playing in the studio, if you have to get that much emotion out of every part of every track, you need to hear everything. So you need to be vocal about everything. So I think that bridge that we had to then create between a brand new, engineer who we hadn't met yet, who hadn't heard our music yet, and and a producer that we hadn't had, till then, and just being in a studio, being in that environment, you learn a lot of things on the fly and in retrospect. So it was a huge learning experience.
We're glad we managed to get people who were patient with us, who understood that this was the first, even though it was at a place like Ashraj, it was still a first recording for a lot of us together. Live, I think it was all of our first recording. We've never done live recordings before.
Yeah.
So people that were experienced and patient at the same time, were, okay, you know what, this is the first time, they'll get it eventually, but
pushing us in the right direction, not just sitting back and waiting.
How many days were you there?
4 days.
4 days, yeah.
4 songs and
4 songs.
Plus a day of setup.
Yeah.
And you release these songs commercially. You're not giving them away for free on SoundCloud.
no.
I don't
No,
think we
if
should.
If the viewers or your fans or your friends want to buy, they have to go to the.
It's a very, I mean, we put it out for 60
Minimum
rupees.
amount,
I
The
mean,
hard copy is that.
it-
Digital download.
Yeah, nowadays it's going to take you more to travel by rickshaw somewhere. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's really not that much. It's
Okay, so let's talk about the EP quickly, guys. So tell me, what's the EP called? How many songs does it have? Where can one pick it up? How much does it cost so that people know what to do about it if they need to get it?
well, the EP is called Attention Please. It has 4 tracks on it from our live repertoire. The 4 tracks are Lens Life, Attention Please, Train of Thought, and More Than Once. They're up online for digital download on iTunes, Amazon, OK Listen, all of that. You can also buy a physical copy.
You
know,
can't
buying
harass me,
physical-
give you a film.
Yeah, buying physical copies, either if you see one of us at a show, you can ask us, or we have a Facebook page called Spud In The Box Music. So, no, Spud In The Box, but facebook.com/Spud In The Box Music.
Yeah.
That's the link. Go there, send us an inbox or post on our wall. We'll try to figure out how we can send it across.
Yep.
Cool.
And what's for the future?
Well, this was a precursor to the album, so the future, the near future, hopefully is the
Definitely
album.
the album.
Because this was all leading up to the album, and this was all so that we would get enough, experience and get enough time to kind of conceptualize and record and work, full on a full length album. So in the near future, it would be an album, and
of course,
Hopefully
playing more
gigs.
yeah.
So what happened? You guys just came off a tour. What was that?
Oh, that was amazing because we didn't really expect to go on a tour when we were recording the EP or when we thought of recording the EP. But when we were releasing the EP, it felt like it made no sense to do a debut release without having gone more places.
Yeah, opened up
And having
parts in the
trying to reach out to way more people than we usually can by just digitally releasing it or just saying that we have an
And also
EP.
it is also about building a market a little bit as well, because
Yeah.
we hadn't really played outside Bombay, Pune that much. I mean, once we had played in Ooty, but that was about it. And then this was like our first foray, and then we had something for them to take back
Exactly.
as well.
So what cities did you do?
We did Hyderabad, Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, and Pune.
And I believe from what I've been told that this was Mr. Zubin's first.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
Right.
Hyderabad flight.
Another milestone you can say.
Another milestone
Yes.
in Zubin Batena's life.
Yes.
And it was the
Took his first flight.
to Hyderabad on 3rd of January 2013. Zubin Batena got on his
And-
first
yeah.
flight of his
So
life.
Zubin, how was that?
Boeing
experience?
737-700.
Pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah, but he was
Yeah.
disappointed.
He was disappointed.
He was disappointed when the plane was taxiing on the runway because he told her, I thought it would go faster.
He found it too noisy also. I can do better than that. I was expecting it quieter.
So anything unusual with the tour? Anything which comes to your mind? Something to watch out for? Something unusual with the tour? Something to remember quickly?
We remembered, I think mostly it was the people that came and released the EP for us.
Oh, yeah.
It was first in terms of meeting these really eminent musicians that we have loved since a very long time.
Who was it?
And in
Every
Delhi,
city or someone.
yeah.
Delhi?
In Delhi it was Rahul Ram from Indian Ocean. In Bangalore it was Bruce Lee Money from Thumb and a Quarter. In Mumbai it was Vishal Dadlani from Pentagram, and Pune it was Coco from Agni.
Right.
Missed Hyderabad.
So what was amazing?
Yeah, Hyderabad it was an actor,
Harshvardhan Rane.
Harshvardhan Rane,
Yeah.
who did it for us then. Yeah.
So anything about the tour which you guys think you need to fix, things you think remember, or anything like that out of this tour?
Any feedback that you got from your listeners?
Oh, we got a lot of good
Yes,
feedback.
A lot of good feedback actually.
Yeah.
And it
We
was-
learned to carry pens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
carry
we were not
markers.
prepared for that.
Yeah.
Other than Vivan, I don't think anyone was prepared for that.
Yeah, people asked
what
us to
we
sign CDs actually.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Oh,
That
it
was
felt
unusual.
It was weird.
Strange.
It was
as
like
to
a culture
why.
shock.
Yeah,
It was just
Yeah.
odd.
Like suddenly normally
People
finish
like
the
20
gig.
years into us
Actors do
coming.
this, we don't do this.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Like
guys?
elderly people would come to us like.
So you
"Get us
played
signed."
first time in Delhi and Bangalore and Hyderabad.
Yeah.
Right. So how was that experience? See, you know Bombay, you know Pune, you know the audience, you know what to do.
Right.
Now here are 3 cities, the major places where music does get consumed a lot.
Yeah.
So what was that experience like to go absolutely new into a place where you don't know anybody and you hope
Yeah,
somebody
it
knows
was-
your
it
music?
was-
How was
it
that?
was
Really nice.
super
It was
exciting.
fantastic.
It was
actually.
exciting, but it was also, it was the thing that we had in our mind that this is our first impression to these
Yeah,
cities.
so that was a
A-game, we had
motivator,
to
like
be on our A-game,
go out
yeah.
and make a first impression to these. It's a brand new audience. Never played
Lost
them
our
before.
bet.
That's the thing. We were so excited about going on this tour because when we did go once to Ooty and played for the Mad Fest last year, around this time actually, the fact that we saw from stage an entire new audience, an entire new, completely new faces who were reacting to our music for the first time, it was just so refreshing and so amazing. And have people come from, who we do not know from anywhere, like we have no connection to, they have no, they have no obligation to come to us and talk to us and tell us
Yeah.
anything about our music. So, and they came and said
And
such
after the
nice
show,
things.
they had someone who was easily about in his 60s come and
Yeah,
tell you that
yeah.
I love what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
So you think
It
there's
was
a
a
market for an
huge-
English writing,
Definitely.
English music
This
band?
proved it to us.
This
This was like a
proved- this was
huge
proof.
validation to us. It just made us feel like our music is necessary and it's there. All these people like it. All these
People
people
care.
want it. Yeah.
There's a-
People
there's a-
care.
So you think as a band you can survive? I'm just asking this question again as a long-term thing. You think as a band, English music writing and making English music making band, you can survive solely on this as a career option in the long run?
I think in today's world, yes. And I think we owe it to a lot of bands who paved the way for us, like
Yeah,
Indian
it's
Ocean,
not
like
easy
Pentagram, like whoever started off zero and all. They created this Indian music scene, Indian indie music scene for us, and I think every new band that comes out today, like from now on or has come out recently, owes it to those bands to really make the
Take it
most of
another
it, because
level.
today we have the resources. Today we have the resources to go into Yashraj and record and release and sell out the amount of copies we printed on a tour, and with social media, with radios now playing our music, with all of that, I think.
And if other people are able to do it without that, then I think it's a shame if we.
Yeah, no, and I think
aren't
that
able to.
in today's world, with the amount of resources you have, sure there are comebacks and sure there are things that work against you, but there always will be.
Right.
There'll be things that don't work for you, wherever you are, in whatever situation, whatever age whatever it is. But you
Just
just
don't-
need to. I think that
Just don't give up.
yeah.
Yeah. Just don't
So
give
And
up.
it's more about the music. I think it might be okay English singing pop rock by 20-year-olds, but at the end of the day, it's the music. If you do not know those facts about us and just heard the music, that's what we want to get a feedback on.
Exactly.
Like that's what we want to give out, and that's what we want everyone to hear, because it's our expression. It's 6 individual people's expression, musical expression, which we want to spread as far as we can.
And the real test, to add to that, the real test is like when we play for new audiences. Because people who heard our music before, I mean, friends and stuff, they're going to tell you nice things. They're going to tell you that that's no secret. But like when we went to Ooty and played, and this whole tour, I think the strongest memory I have from when we played in Ooty for Mad Festival was people reacting to lyrics. We would sing a line and people would be, whoa, we got that, and I think that was huge. I think that meant personally a lot to me, because they're brand new people. They have no obligation to like you. They have no obligation to look up at you, and
They have another stage to go to.
yeah, they have another stage to go to where other more popular acts are playing, but they're staying and they're listening and they're imbibing everything, and they go home and buy our music and listen to it. And I think that's the real test. I think if you can go to a brand new audience and make them sing along, I think
So
you've
did
won
people
already.
come up to you after, I mean, these cities and talk to you
Yeah,
and
Quite
ask you
yeah,
about your
definitely.
background?
every city I think because
Did they also ask you about why you were called Spud In The Box?
Everyone did.
Everyone
So
asked.
what do you tell them?
every
And we
single
gave all of them
single
different
one.
stories.
You ask them to
every
rewind the
single
tape and watch
interview
it
that we
again?
have ever given.
I started
since
with this.
the
No, I'm sure
inception
people
of the
come and
band.
ask you that why are you called this? Why
Yeah,
did you?
Yeah, we
So
just
what do
we
you tell
like
them?
boxes and we like
It's
potatoes.
it's been shouted at to us from the audience
Saying
on
that
stage.
what is it?
That
Why?
why
Why is
Spud
Spud In The
So what do you say?
We don't know.
This next song is called
Spud In The Box. No?
So what will be next on your agenda? What would be the next thing you saying, wow, I want to do this as a band?
Go abroad.
Yes.
Yeah. Play
Go
internationally.
abroad. Play somewhere
Want to
else.
play international?
I
Get
think-
to
I think we want to cover all of India.
You think-
I
don't-
personally
don't you think
want
it's
to
that
cover
too
all
early?
of India first.
Don't you think that's a little too early? Like
Maybe.
you're just 1 year into the music and you want
It
to go
might.
abroad?
It definitely is early. It's too early to go into Yashraj to record a
But
4
there's no
track
harm
EP.
in,
Yeah.
there's no harm
But-
in dreaming big. We have to dream big.
Yeah. Like who else has gone into Yashraj just to record 4 songs and then gotten out? It's too early, but
sold out.
it's what we
So
want.
what's your
to do.
dream?
It
What
feels right,
what
yeah.
place, what arena, where in the world is your dream? That's the place you want your biggest concert to be.
Wembley.
What is
Wembley
it?
Stadium.
Glastonbury,
Wembley Stadium?
Wembley.
Yeah.
Bonnaroo.
Anything will do, man.
I would love to play at Bonnaroo. I have a friend who went for it, and his statuses on Facebook be like, Bon Iver or Coldplay. I don't know what to pick.
We'll send you an invite when we're playing Glastonbury next year.
No, and also we would like.
This year.
I think I personally would like to cover all of India because we've done these cities. I would like to play the northeast as well.
Oh,
I like to
definitely.
play down south. I like to play in Chandigarh. Apparently, Chandigarh is getting some venues. I like to do a little more of that, get a little
Yeah,
more
so
collective
that-
experience out of it, and then take it somewhere else.
So that you have that backing when you do
Yeah.
try to go abroad.
Yeah, and the
because-
experience.
Yeah, because if you don't have that, are you known in India at all? If you don't have that behind you, what backing will you have? Why will any international,
So do you think we have good infrastructure, good venues, good everything coming up that
in India?
that
It's coming up.
encourages-
I think
It's
it's
coming up.
it's
Yeah.
very in sync with how the scene is growing. Because if the scene grows, then the demand grows, and the venues grow, and the amount of people investing into it.
No, and if you want to look at it just from this year, it's insane. We have Mastodon, Limp Bizkit, and a couple of other bands playing now. Norah
Yeah.
Jones is coming in March. Gautier is coming in Feb. Electronica artists are coming out of every college festival. Edward Meyer's playing for some college festival. It's blooming like crazy. And it's
But that's
awesome.
that's only the international music scene. Even the Indian indie scene is growing for sure. There are lots of things that aren't working for it. There are lots of things that venues and organizers need to take into account to make make it more viable, and just in general with sound issues and stuff like that. I think it needs to be a little more about the music than about the making money. But then again, that's business, and that's gonna happen anywhere around the world because people are always looking.
So
to
what
make
would you
money.
like to say to a prospective sponsor who's watching this video? I mean, he's a sponsor or a promoter who's looking to do a new act, and so what would be your kind of statement to that sponsor or a promoter?
I'd say take care of sound first. If it's a musical festival or if it's a whatever it is, take care of sound first, because if your artists sound good, then people are gonna like it. At
No,
the end
we
of the
can.
day.
The one thing we can assure is our material.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we stand by our material no matter what. So no matter what the sound is, even if it's horrible,
Yeah.
we're still gonna play the song like we play the song, and we're
Exactly.
still gonna give it all from our end. So for it to have that impact and for them to be happy with it and to get a response and to get more crowd into their venues, it's gonna have to be that much effort on their end as well, which is just the equal effort, because it's
Exactly.
as much our responsibility as it is theirs.
Yeah.
So we try to make sure that every gig that we go to, we're carrying our A game with us. So we
Exactly.
just hope that every venue has
Up
theirs.
to it, yeah.
And you thought all your parents were supportive of you?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
extremely supportive. I don't think we would have gotten this far without that.
Yeah.
For
Big-
sure.
I mean, this far, this early. Sure, there are lots of people who have problems at home, and in spite of that, they get far. But for us to get far this early, it's been our parents have been instrumental in really helping us. It's been really good.
Thank you guys for spending time with us, and
Thanks for having us.
I'm sure a lot of bands and others in the business would learn a lot from you and would want to collaborate, and
Hope so.
we'll also listen to your
We
music.
really hope that happens.
Yeah,
we really do, yes.
Sure, I guess in the next interview you'll reveal the secret and tell
Let's
us all.
see.
We'll tell you after
few
you
dollars
cut
on the
tape,
table.
after-
Yeah.
If you sponsor our album, we'll think
We
about
will
it.
definitely we'll tell you why, and you can change it also if you want.
Till then, there's
But
chicken.
actually, in a way, we might have already told you.
In a way. Could be in there somewhere.
Let's see if the
Much
response
like our
is
song, you
come
know.
accordingly.
Who knows?
They-
Everybody
they have thought about it.
3%.
Thanks.
Ah.
Thank you.